Hello, hello, and happy Tuesday. The tutorial that you have been waiting for is here. Members got access to these last week, and if you've seen our Facebook page or checked your email, we have released our first of our pop and swap collection. So you're going to have to bear with me just a little bit this morning. I've had major technical difficulties. So usually this camera right here that's facing me is an iPad and I can see everything that's going on. The iPad decided it didn't want to connect. So I'm actually using my phone. So I can't go on and see if there's an echo. So let me know if there's, and we've been doing pretty good about there not being an echo. So I think we're okay because I only have the one. I'm just going to mute that just in case the iPad's in the background. But I think we should be good. So we're just going to roll with this and it's going to be just fine. So I see people popping on. Say hi so I know who's watching. And I'm going to start by showing you the frames, and then I'm going to go through and some different ways that you can craft the frames. But I'm super excited about this. We released these to the members on Friday, and on Friday they sold us out of everything we had. So this weekend we have been frantically making more so that we would have them for you here today. Hey, Miss Patty, will you let me know if there's an echo, Miss Patty? All right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you our pop and swap frames. So if you've seen them on the store already, these are our brand new frames. So what is cool about these is you are able to pop out the tile, decorate the back, and then you can just put it back in. And I don't have the back on this one done because I'm actually going to show you how to do it, but it's pop and swap. Like, it's that easy, okay? And they fit on our medium stands. And so this one is, I just painted the back today. I'm going to do the back of it. So I did prep the back of this one to be ready. So we're going to work on that today. Patty says no echo. Perfect. Hey, Carmen. So I'm going to show you exactly how to make these. This is going to be the tutorial that we use for everybody. So we're going to go through all of the different steps. I'm going to be doing a technique on both of them. Hey, Miss Pam. So you're going to learn all the fun stuff because there's so many different ways that you can decorate these. But let me show you how they arrive first. So I'm going to put these, put this over to the side. Because of my setup I have right now for this, my stuff where I normally put stuff is, I don't have that space. Miss Pam says her order is in. Love it. Yes, you ladies bought the heck out of these frames. We had a whole bunch that were ready to go, thinking they would carry us into both the launch and the member launch and the public launch. And we sold out during the member launch. Now, we make them, so it'll allow you to back order, but it just means we might have to wait until we get them printed. So it might take a day or two longer than we normally ship. So when you get your frame, it comes in these 3 pieces. So what I'm going to show you today is how we put the pieces together and different ways that you can decorate the actual frame, okay? So here's the one. This one is the Mary of Bethany. And so it's got like the vintage scroll work. It's got, it's the feeling. Let me go through over here. Just kind of make sure I can see everybody here. Hold on, going through. Hi, Miss Elizabeth. Pam says she's going to catch the replay. The replay. Ladies, replay is what needs to happen today. I will tell you, the enemy is out in full force today of the hiccups that we have had this morning, even all the way up to this live. I don't know if he doesn't want these frames to go out or what the issue is, but we are prayed up and we're moving on anyway. So this one is the Mary of Bethany. So Mary's design is that to remind you of the stillness, of the devotion, of intimacy. We've got the vintage scrolling work on here. So this is the Mary of Bethany. And then our second one, I'm like, I have everything here. Our second topper is the Hannah. And Hannah, I am most excited about sharing with you because Hannah has so many ways that we can do her. So Hannah is has the floral vines, hopeful greens. We're thinking surrender, joy, praise, all of the different things. So this is the Hannah. Do it this way if you can see. Sometimes I think you can see it the other way a little bit better. I gotta put my glasses on to read comments. Oh, Miss Katie's in the hospital. Love it. She's had some visitors and some crafting time. She loves the Mary of Bethany. It's beautiful. Yeah, Katie, you can go ahead and reach out to me. I'm just going to put your comment on stage anyway, so you can see. So Miss Katie just had surgery, and it sounds like it went good, girl, because you're on here. Okay, see if I can take that down. All right. Hi, Miss Elaine. Elizabeth says Mary of Bethany is her favorite. All right, we're plugging along here. I think this is going to work. So I'm going to show you a few different ways. I'm going to demonstrate live one way to do it, but I'm going to show you all the different ways. So to do this, you're going to need some napkins or some transfers, whatever you're going to put on your design in the middle. You're also going to need your sanding block. I've got some painter's tape here. I've got my Waverly plaster. This is going to be my base color. I'm going to show it this way, figure out which is easier. Before I do the decoupage, you're also going to need a permanent glue, not a hot glue. The hot glue is not going to work with these. You're going to need something stronger. So this is the E6000. If you got the May Crafting and Christ club kit, there's a little sample container of, I think it's E7000. Honestly, I do not know what the difference is in the different thousands, but you just need a permanent glue. I also grabbed this Beacon 3-in-1 Instant Quick Dry. I'm not going to use that on this today, but I'm going to try that for something else. The reason I like this one is because, one, it's going to be permanent once it's stuck. Two, it doesn't dry super quick because you're going to see we need to shift the frames around a little bit, shift the pieces around so that everything lines up when we so we can pop the tile in and out. If we don't get that lined up, we're going to have issues. Rona is new. Welcome, Rona. Katie says she's rocking and rolling in recovery. God is good. Amen. I got Miss Tina over on YouTube. Hello, hello. What else do I have? I have an X-Acto pen. Or X-Acto knife, or any type of like sharp knife. And then I have my Magi paint pens. So if you caught the membership live, you'll know that I have aborted all the other pens that I had. They're all gone. Like, these are the pens that are the best ones. So I put a link in the description of this video. I'll make sure and send a link in the video. It's also in my favorite things. These are the pens that you want. Hey, Miss Debbie. Because, and you'll see here in a minute, because I'm going to show you when I had the other pens what it looked like, but these paint pens, the paint sits on top of the wood instead of going in the wood and then, like, what do you call it? I can't think of the word. It's like spreading out, and it wasn't working well. But these Magi paint pens, these are the ones you want. So the link is, like I said, in the description. It's in my favorite things. It's all over. But what we're going to do first is let's go ahead and assemble one of these together. Now, you're not going to see the back or the frame. The frame popper is just to hold the bleeding. Yes. Thank you, Debbie. Hi, Miss Sandy. First time watching on YouTube. Thanks so much for stopping by. So I'm demonstrating our brand new Pop and Swap frames, and they are the Women of the Word collection. And we're going to be doing Mary of Bethany today. And we're also going to be doing Hannah today. So I have, which is, you'd be proud of me, I have prepped some things so you don't have to watch all of the steps type deal. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to put the frame together. So we're going to take our whatever E6000, 7000, 9000, whichever the one you're using. And you'll see this is like almost like a toothpaste consistency. Okay. So what I found best is if we take this and we put this down so you can see. I got to figure out if I'm showing you here or here. As you are jumping on, if you're just jumping on, I had tech issues this morning. I usually have an iPad here. It's not working, so I'm using my phone, which I'm not used to using. So just bear with me as I sort through what exactly I'm doing. Okay, so we're just going to put like a little smear, okay? Just like a little, I don't know if you can see that. It's like a little smear, okay? We don't want too much because then it's going to like bubble outside and we'll have to scrape it off. We're just going to do a smear in each corner. And I'm doing this first so it can set up a little bit while we're working on the other things. Okay, there we go. I'm going to put the cap back on because it does tend to squeeze out when you're not using it, which is kind of annoying, but just be aware of that. And if you get like too much on it, you can just take something and scrape it off. Like I think I might have gotten just a little bit too much here. So I'm just going to take off the excess. All right. So we are going to first line up our top, we call this a topper. And we're going to line it up with the back of the frame. Now, again, what I love about this glue is we stuck it on there, but it's going to be movable. So what I want you to do is line up your frame with the edge, with your surface, okay? Because that way we know it's all the way on the bottom. And then from there, we're going to make sure the sides are straight, which we are. Just pinch it, all four corners. Again, just make sure everything is straight. And I think I'm off just the slightest amount. So I'm making sure that this end is straight. And if you need to like go to each, rotate it around to make sure that each side is good, then we're good. So here's what we have. This is the back of our frame. We're just going to put this aside. All right. We're not going to mess with this anymore. We're going to put it over here. I'm just double checking it because I bumped it on something on the way over, of course. Okay, we're just going to set that there. We're going to let it dry. I'm going to go ahead and do that with this second one so that I can put them both together. Now we are working with wood. So you'll see on this one, it has a little knot, and that's fine. Some of your pieces may have knots. Some of your tiles may have knots. Some of your frames may have little knots. It's okay. That's what gives it character and makes it different than everybody else's. So don't think that there's something wrong with yours if it has that. You can always paint over it, which most of this we are going to get painted over, or you can flip it over and see if the backside's a little bit different if you're doing a staining technique. I personally like the knots. But we do use, we only use birch. So these are all real wood, birch, made from birch. So it's not like MDF or anything. So it's going to have, it's a higher quality and it's going to have those natural finishes. All right, so we're going to plop our second one down here and we're going to do the same thing. Let's push all four corners, pop it up, make sure that we have it straight on all four corners. That one looks good. We're going to put it over to the side. Okay. So those are going to be drying for us while we're working on everything else. Okay. So now we have our frame toppers. So we're going to go ahead and do that Mary of Bethany, and I have to keep that straight because we are releasing, this is the first of many we're going to release, and we are releasing Mary, Jesus's mother. We're saving her for Christmas. So hold on tight for that one, but this is Mary of Bethany, and I want to show you a few of the techniques that you can do. So I'm going to actually do an antiquing on the other one. So I will show you that, but I wanted to show you what it looks like fully antiqued. And so you can see on this one, it had a knot right there. So that's why it's a little bit darker. Again, it's fine. I love the knots and those things, so it doesn't bug me. But what I wanted to show you is a different technique. Let me show you also the original. So on the original one, I actually did a crackle. Trying to see if you can see, like, I think you can see it here. So you can see it has the teal underneath, and then I did a crackle over the top, and then I did an antiquing glaze. We're actually going to be doing that in the member club. So for the members for our May bonus crafting night, we're going to be doing this technique with the crackle and the glaze and all the things. So I'm not going to show that technique today because that's what we're doing in the group. So, but that is a possibility. If you like crackle and you like that antique look, that's what I did for this one. Okay. You could also do all over one color. Okay, you could paint it one color. That would work too. I wanted to show you how to do this kind of two-tone technique. So this has staining on the inside and painting on the outside. So to get started, and I'm going to be bouncing back between both frames as we wait for things to dry. The other thing that I did in advance, which actually we'll do this and then we'll go do that. Let's go ahead and do this. So the first thing that you're going to need is your painting tape. And you're going to want to do the painting part first, because what I found is after you do the wax on the side here, the paint doesn't want to stick to the wax, which makes complete sense. But I didn't think about that when I was trying this last night. So you're going to put your painter's tape all the way exactly up to that line. Make sure it's down good along the edges, because anything that is showing, like there's a little bit of the frame showing right there, is going to be painted. Okay, so basically we've just masked off to just leave this area. I did do this with a smaller brush, this part, because otherwise the paint kind of blobs into, it can blob into the detail work, and I didn't really want that to happen. So you're just going to come in and you're just going to kind of pull your paint across all the different scroll areas. And I probably could have done half of this first, but I wanted to basically kind of show you how I did it, but not have you sit through the entire painting of the frame. So if you get some blobs of paint, just kind of spread it out to the bigger areas of your frame. And again, you don't have to use a white. You could use any color on this. I try to keep it just a little bit neutral so I had more variety of which napkins I can use or which art I can use in the center. So we're just going to keep working on, just kind of pull it out from the bigger areas to the smaller areas. And because it is the wood, it does dry pretty quickly on you, so I think when I did the crackle one, I used a sponge brush initially. And honestly, I don't remember if I liked that better or not. I was so excited when I got these when they were done to like create them that I just kind of jumped in. And then I just loved how they turned out. So I'm so happy I can share them now with everybody, because we had to keep this a secret for a minute and it was hard. Now, members, your orders for the frames started going out. They started yesterday. So if you haven't got a shipping notification yet, then you should be getting it today. I know she's working on a bunch of them today as well. So in addition, just so you know, the frames come with one tile insert that basically you can do the front and the back, which I'll be demonstrating today. And then we have the extra tile inserts. And so I know there was one member, and I can't remember who it was. They were smart and bought 3 sets of we sell them in 2-packs, singles or doubles. And she bought three of the 4-packs. And so she could switch out her frame like every month in her home decor. And I absolutely love that. The other thing, these are great for gifts, Mother's Day. It could be a great Mother's Day gift, or even just giving the frame as a gift for them to do, because it does have it's going to have the tutorial on it. All right, I think we've got it pretty good here. Okay, so we're going to let this dry. Just make sure we don't miss any spots. We're going to just push this over to the side. We're going to let it dry for a moment. And I'm going to switch over to the the tiles. So I've already done the first tile on this, and I prepped the back for a napkin. So I have one done, so we won't have to wait for that to dry. But this one, I did not prep the back. So I'm just going to walk you through that. You can, and this is very simple, but if you're new to decoupage, I just want to show everyone how to do it. Hello, Miss Lottie. Elizabeth, I have to see what you said. You cracked me up about the secrets. Oh, I can't see what you were saying because there's like a little thing from my streaming service that's in the way. I couldn't see your comment. So funny. Okay, so for this, it's super simple, okay? We're just gonna take the white and we're just gonna drag it across. We don't need to be fancy with this. We don't need to be, it doesn't need to be perfect. We're just covering it so that when we put our decoupage design on there, it pops. I'm just going to turn my iron on while we're waiting. So I am going to be using the iron on decoupage method, which is, I feel, the easiest, especially for beginners. Hi, Miss Judy. So we're going to be using that method. Now you don't have to use the iron on method. You can do the old, I want to say old fashioned. It's not even old fashioned, just the original, or I don't know. They call it the wet decoupage method. But I'm going to do iron on just because I feel that that's easy. So for the iron on method, you're just going to need either, or you can use a regular iron, just make sure it's not on the steam setting. And then you'll just need parchment paper, and I'll show you that process here in a moment. I'm going to show you how to prep it, and then we'll take my prepped one and we will do the technique on there. I do try to take the paint all in one direction just to make so that the surface is a little bit easier to work with, and then you can just drag it through the edges. I got some chunks in there. My plaster is getting pretty chunky. It's a little bit old. It's the original one that I had when I very first started. So it's got to be like 2 or 3 years old. I just purchased another one, but I don't know. I'm one of those people that I don't want to open it until I've used all of this. Like, I don't know. I got some childhood trauma from that or something. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to put that aside, let it dry. Lucky for us, I have one already prepped and dry here. So one thing we're just going to want to be cognizant of is whichever way, if the design is facing this way, then we probably want it on the back facing this way as well, because I always forget to make sure that my thing is the right way. But the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to cover it with some Mod Podge. So this is the dry method. It's the dry iron-on method. It's going to allow us to manipulate the napkin a little bit. I've got like a Mod Podge boogie on my thing. I don't know. It's Arizona, I tell you, man, things dry out so fast here. Okay, here we go. And this is just like a barbecue container that I got at Walmart for 99 cents. I just dump I buy the bigger Mod Podge and I just dump it in there because it's easier to work with for me. All right, so we're gonna take a big brush and we're just gonna spread this all over. You're gonna wanna make sure you get to the edges because we don't want any lifting of the edges, especially when we're popping and swapping. And again, these frames are already available to the public. I put them on the website this morning at 10 a.m. They went live. Now we're going to add a little bit more. And they have been so popular already with the members. And I can't wait to see what they create, because there's just, you're going to see there's just so many ways that we can do them. All right, so that is covered pretty well, I think. So I'm going to hit it with the heat gun just to speed it up a little bit. And then we're going to go back to our frame. So we're going to allow this to have a little bit more time to dry. We just need that Mod Podge dry so we can iron on it. We'll go back to our frame and we can now do the second part. So we're going to peel the tape off. And then if the other side of your tape, because see, this was the side that we used. If this side is pretty clean and there's no sticky, like nothing stuck on it, then we can go ahead and we can use that side, like use the same piece of tape. And now we're going to cover the painted part, okay? We're going to do the same thing. We need to make sure that this is pushed down really tight on these edges, because otherwise this wax that we're going to use is going to go over our white and we're not going to have that nice clean line. So that's pretty good. And I'm using the Dixie Belle Best Dang Wax in the brown. If you've been watching me, you know this is my favorite. Hi, Miss Judy. I've got Judy Scott, and then I've got Judy, is it Lucy? All right, so we're going to take our antique applicator tool. We're going to dab it in the wax. We're going to dab off the excess. I am going to do this over my plate because I don't want to get wax on my mat when I'm doing multiple projects, okay? The mat will come clean, but since I'm not going to wash it in between each project, I need to make sure I don't get it on my actual mat because it's going to get everywhere. You know how it is. All right, and then we're just going to come through and we're going to just drag this. Go with the grain of the wood. And then I'm just going to have to be a little bit careful in these corners because I didn't tape the white on this other side here. And then you can just take your scrap rag, and if your scrap rag doesn't look like this, do you even craft? Bonus points if it's a little crusty in places. All right, so this is just, I'm going to just taking the excess off here a little bit. It will soften it a little bit, but you can layer this if you want to get darker. But that's about as dark as I want it. And for the wax, it doesn't need to cure. So we can come back here and we can take off our tape. You could do this same technique with using two kinds of paint, using a paint and then crackling the edges. There's so many ways that you could do the edge of this. But now we have a completed frame. You could also take the antiquing if you wanted to, which I'm a little bit nervous to do, but you could take it and just kind of drag it along the edges a little bit. I have such a heavy hand, I have to be careful. I'm just kind of doing just the extra edges here just to soften up that plaster a little bit, give it a little bit more aged look. You want to get aggressive and go inside all the little nooks and crannies, you can do that too. I'm just going to do the light drag across the edge. You'll notice I didn't add any more wax to my brush. I just used the wax that was already on it. So there is our frame. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our backs that we have sitting over here. I'm going to take the one that I did first. And now we're going to attach our back to our front. We're going to use the same exact process that we did before. So on this one, just so you know, I just did a whole antique wax on the back just to give you guys an idea of what it looked like if you just antiqued the whole thing. And then, so this is just for demonstration. You don't have to finish the back, but you can finish the back. If you are going to finish the back and use a wax, I wouldn't worry about putting the wax in this area. It'll be fine, like it will stick, but just for like a better adhesion. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the other, when we attached the other one. So I'm going to take my E6000, my E-glue, and we're just going to put the dots in the corner of the frame in that same, we're just going to do a same little, like just a little smear. And I just take it, I put it in that corner, and then I just give it the slightest Squeeze and just drag it out. We do not need a ton of this glue, okay? You just need a little smear. So again, just in the 4 corners, put the lid back on because it will squirt out on you. All right, so I'm gonna push this down so I can see better, but I also need to make sure that you can still see. Okay, the most important part about this part is we've got to get it lined up with that top frame or the bottom frame. Otherwise, our tile is not going to snap in and out. It will get caught on the frames, okay? So we're pushing down on all 4 corners, and then I can see a little bit of the white. Like if I can see the white, and that's the other reason it's good not to paint the topper, because if it's painted, I'm not going to be able to see it as much. But this glue is going to allow us to drag it around. I shouldn't see any of the white edging from that topper, okay? It should just disappear in there. Judy's watching from Independence. Lisa said she bought a box of eyeshadow sponge applicators to do this inside of those tiny spots. That's a good idea. I put that up there? Yeah, okay. I love that idea, Lisa. Okay, so we've got it on there, good. Now what I do like to do is take my tile and I'm gonna put it in there. Actually, I don't know this tile that goes with this one. So I'm gonna put it in there and I'm gonna pop it out because I wanna make sure that it pops out. And when you do that, just make sure that it doesn't move. But I do give it a couple tests to make sure that it can go in and out. I just want the slightest bit. Okay, so from there, we're gonna let her dry, okay? So she's all put together. Ideally, you want this to sit like for a few hours, okay? Maybe even overnight. But our frame portion is, we're gonna put it over here and let it sit, okay? Run out of space. All right, so I'm gonna let it sit there. We're gonna go back to our tile. So we have painted it white and we've put the Mod Podge on it. So right now it's ready for decoupage. So I'm getting my iron and I have the little, currently I have my cords all tangled up. I have the little Cricut iron. This works amazing for, I know it's for Cricut, but it works amazing for decoupage. This is also in my little favorite things. It did come with the little stand, which I love as well. And then we're gonna need our parchment paper. I always just keep a piece in here and I get these little squares from Dollar Tree. Like it comes in a little thing and you just pull them out when you need them. But I've been using the same sheet for, I don't know, forever. And then we're gonna take one of our napkins. So we're gonna cut the napkin first. And if you're new to us and you're wondering why our napkins are only printed on one side, it's because we do have all of our napkins. These are our custom designs and we have them printed here in the United States. So because of that, they're only able to print on the front side. And so that's why there's only one design on them. We're just gonna cut out the side with the design that we'll need to be working with. Our napkins are 3-ply. Again, I keep just making sure that that when I flip it over, it's on the same, it's right side up. All right, and then we're gonna separate our plies. Now, when I did with the members, I did this whole like technique thing. I tried doing the masking tape and it worked great the first time, and then the second time I couldn't get it to work. So we're just gonna do it the old-fashioned way. So you can see there's 3 plies here, and we only want the top one. Now, if you have trouble getting it, you can tear the corner and then try and catch the plies that way. But this one worked pretty good. And I just kind of go around the edges first because I don't want it to tear any part in my design by kind of going on a weird angle. And then we'll just separate them like this. And this is one of our napkins from the April Club. April's theme was Growing Grace. So this is one of the designs that was available to them first, but now everyone has access to this design. I thought this would be a pretty one to go with the way that we did the frame. What I love, I know there's so many things that I love about this. Hey, Miss Angelia. is our frames and our tiles are all designed to fit our napkins perfectly. So you don't have to worry about the napkin being too big or too small. Hey, Miss Deborah, they're going to fit just right. You should have a little bit left over on each side and then we'll sand that off. But it should fit perfectly, and that is what we wanted. So again, with the dry method of decoupage, hey, Miss Linda, Elizabeth says she would be dotting the glue on the sides too because everything wouldn't expand and contracts with the different types of weather here. Oh, that's smart. So Elizabeth's saying she's going to add more glue because her wood's going to adjust. That is probably very smart. It's very dry here in Arizona, but if you're in like a humid state, that would be a really good idea if you know that. Thank you, Miss Linda, for sprinkling. All right, so we're just going to make sure we have it overlapping just the teeniest bit on each side because it should overlap just a little bit, and that's going to allow you to get it centered. And then once I have it where I want it, I'm going to leave this hand here to hold it. I'm going to come get my parchment paper, slide my parchment paper over, and then I just keep holding the napkin down here so it doesn't move. And then once I have it covered from there, we're just going to take our iron and we're just going to iron that sucker right on there. Now you just want to make sure I kind of go over the edges, and then I'm just going to kind of quickly go over the top, and that's pretty much it. Like, it happens pretty quickly. It will be hot. Don't be grabby right after you iron or you might burn yourself, which y'all know I've done. But you can see how I kind of angled the iron to go over the edges, and that's make sure I got all the edges. Now I do like to check and see if make sure I got the corners, especially because we're going to be popping it in and out. We don't want any of our corners coming off. And we look good. Okay. Next, we're going to take our sanding block. This is also on my list of favorite things. If you don't have one of these, you could also use a nail file. You could also just use a sanding block sponge or sanding paper that you get from Home Depot or Lowe's or Dollar Tree. So don't feel like you have to get something fancy if you already have something on hand, okay? I just like this for the surface area. It makes it a little bit easier. So if you're going to be doing a bunch of these, it'd be worth getting it. They're inexpensive. And they come with a bunch of files. I don't think I've ever changed the file. And it came with like, I don't know, 20 files or something. I probably should change the file. It's like my razors. I forget until I'm like super annoyed. And then I'm like, oh, I should probably put a new razor on. Is that like a girl thing or is that me? Because I don't know why I'm like that. I have to preserve everything. I'm trying to make it last as long as possible. When we grew up, we were poor, but we didn't know we were poor. So I think I just have a lot of habits that old habits die hard, right? All right, and just make sure when you're sanding, you're only rubbing from the front down. Don't drag it on the way back up because that could lift up your design. We just want to drag down. The other thing that we need to be aware of, because we're going to be popping this in and out, is if we've got any extra paint or any Mod Podge that went over the edge, we're going to want to kind of sand that down. So for this direction, I'm just going up and down here. I just want to make sure that there's nothing that's going to catch because this was designed to fit exactly in that frame. Now, once you get done with this part, which I can't do on camera here, I do seal these. I did seal the back, okay, because it's going to be handled. We're going to be touching it and popping it in and out, and you know, we could have dust or dirt or whatever on our fingers. So you will want to go back and seal this. I use a clear acrylic spray and I used a matte. If you want a glossy look, you can use gloss, but for this one, I used matte. So I'll be sealing it with a matte. Okay, but from here, what we can do is come back to our frame. Now, it is not cured yet, so it can still move around. So we do want to be careful, but what I want to make sure is that it drops in there, that there's nothing catching, because if there is something catching, I'll come up and I'm going to sand that part off, okay? So then, again, we can pop it out, flip it over. It's fall. We want more of a fall message, or we just need to see a different verse because that's what's going on with life right now. Then we just pop it out, switch it, pop it back in, slides back in, you're good to go. So this one is the Mary of Bethany. Okay, again, so many different ways you can do it. Like I showed you, this whole thing can be, what do you call it? Antique the whole thing if you want. I kind of actually like it with the back being antiqued. You could antique this part too to make a completely finished look, especially if you're reselling. That's probably a good idea. So I might go back and do that. But for right now, this just kind of gives you one idea of, well, a secondary idea of what you can do. So we had that one, and then the other version that I did was crackle paint. And again, I'll be showing the crackle paint technique in the members group. So that is the, did I call it the Hannah? That's the Mary of Bethany. So now let's have some fun with the Hannah. I don't know what I'm grabbing here. All right, don't want to pry the top off. I'm gonna put these ones over here. Okay, so this is again one that I have done the front already. The back is prepped. And so this is the Hannah. So the Hannah had, for the members, the Hannah had two versions. The first version had all of these fine details in it. We decided they got to vote on which one they thought we should release to the public. And they went with Hannah version 2. So this version with the extra lines in it, the more details, is only available to members. But for everyone else, we're going to do Hannah version 2. So you can see there's no lines in here. And this is why. I'm excited about this one. So I spent a lot of time with Hannah version 1 and 2 because there's so many different things that you can do with them. And this was my initial vision, was we would be able to paint all the little florals and vines and all that stuff. So I'm going to show you how to do that. But I want to show you first all of the different techniques that I tried, because what is nice for you is I figured out all the things that don't work so that you don't try and do them and be frustrated. And then I found what works best. So I go through my scrap pile here. Okay, so this was when I first started painting, when I had the other markers. Okay, and what was happening is, it's going to be hard for you to see on this. I might be able to show it better this way. But what was happening is the pens were not working very well on the wood. I was having some bleed. I was having all kinds of issues. So I switched markers, got the new markers. I asked around, got some recommendations, and I got new markers. And then it was a completely different experience. So it went from this. These are the old markers, no finish. And I'll walk through what each of these, because all these are different techniques. So this is the old markers with no wax or anything. So then I got the new markers, and this was the difference in the paint. So you can tell it really pops and it really fills in and it doesn't bleed. So I was like, heck yeah. But before I got those, I tried all different techniques. So this was actually the Posca. This down here was the Posca, and you can see it's bleeding all in there. I was having all kinds of bleed issues. Then I also wanted to see, okay, what would it look like if you waxed first? What would it look like if you painted and then waxed over? So this one, and then I had two kinds of wax. So on this side here, this is the Dixie Belle Best Dang wax in brown. And this is paint over the top of it. So if you waxed it and then you painted it, this is the effect that you would get, okay? If you painted and then waxed, it's going to be this effect right here. So it kind of just ages the paint a little bit. This side is painted without wax. Then, what do I got here? Oh, this is the grunge gray wax. This side is painted and then waxed. This side is waxed, then painted. Okay, hopefully I'm not confusing you. Basically, it just depends on what style you like. Personally, I preferred the wax first and then the paint. That, I feel like that really makes the colors pop. But if you wanted a more like antiqued, aged, old look, like it would probably be this where you paint and then wax over it. Okay, so those are all the different ways. This one is where I did the new markers and I did a tape line. So you can see like I get much better, that I can get that fine line, okay? Those are all the different techniques. What I want to show you today is this one that I've started already with the paint markers. And I'm going to show you how to do kind of like a watercolor effect is what what I'm trying to do. So we do need to Mod Podge our napkin. Like, where's my little tile that was done? See, I got too many things here. No, oh, I put it in the spray. I'm going to go ahead and hit this with some Mod Podge so it can dry while we're doing our frame. And I put my brush in there. So again, we're just gonna, it's already prepped with the white. I'm just gonna get some Mod Podge on it. Then again, I can allow that to dry while we're painting our frame. So for the markers, you're gonna need, again, I recommend the Magi markers, M-A-G-I. I get them on Amazon. I put the link in the video description. I also put the link in my favorite things. I would not get any other markers. I know I had mentioned when we did the coasters that those one thin markers were really good. They were decent on the coasters. They were good at that time. Now that I've worked with these Magi markers, don't even waste your money on those other markers. Judy, is that what you're asking? Yes. So it's the Magi paint markers. There's a link in the description of the video. They look like this. And let me get this Mod Podge on here and I'll show you there's like so many cool things about these markers. First of all, the fine tip is like the perfect fine tip. Of course, I was a little heavy-handed with the Mod Podge, so bear with me for a moment while I kind of brush some of this off, because if Melanie's putting Mod Podge on anything, I'm drowned in it. Like, that's just the way I roll. I swear. All right, we got that on there. We're going to put that aside. All right, so I'm going to show you the different things about these Magi markers. You're going to want a scrap piece of paper, okay? So the Magi markers have two different tips. They actually have three different tips. They have the Sharpie tip like this. Then you can actually take this out and it has a round tip. I haven't started this one yet, like this end. I only started the other end. So that has two different tips. And then it has the super fine tip. And this is the tip that I use. This is amazing. It works so good on the wood and the paint just sits on top. And I'll show you how that works. Let me, I want to start one for you because I love these markers so much. I got a little storage thing for them. Okay. So we're going to grab one and hopefully I haven't used this one yet. No. Okay. So when you get them, remember the other ones I had to like pump to get it to going? Don't do that. You will get a pool of paint. Like these markers are what I like to call juicy. They have a lot of paint. They work really well. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is just shake it up real good. Then you have it. You're just going to go down one time and the paint is already moving down the pen and it's ready to go. Okay, it just goes down. Don't do it twice or even hold it too hard. Otherwise, you're gonna get like this blob or even, I got a whole pool from the green because I got a little crazy. So then you're just gonna wanna do some lines, make sure it's not blobbing, and that one's good to go. Okay, that's how you get the marker started. Not using that color, so I'm gonna put it down there so I don't get my colors all mixed up. All right, so when I'm doing painting, I'm gonna have, the first thing that I did was I took my napkins, the napkin that I was gonna use, and I went and started pulling markers that were the same color as the napkin. So I knew I wanted to tie in, obviously we need green for the vines. So I started finding the colors that matched colors that were already in the napkin so that I could tie them together. Now, of course, you're going to, pop and swap and move all them out. So you might not want to get that detailed, but that's just what my thought process was when I was picking these colors. So I tried to pick colors that were in this napkin, which this one is rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing steadfastly in prayer. I like the lemons and the daisies and the tile work in it. So that's kind of what I was going off of. So those are all the colors that I pulled out of here. So all these colors that I have are colors that, for the most part, should match this napkin. With that, I'm going to get some of this stuff out of the way. I would recommend starting with the leaves because that's going to get you a feel for the pen. So again, I've already used this marker, but I'm going to take just I don't know if you can see, I'm just going to do a couple lines because I want to make sure no giant blob of paint is going to come out. And then I'm going to work in one direction. Okay. You don't want to be working back and forth and dragging your hand through this. And you're just going to, don't even push down on the marker. You're just going to fill the paint in. So I'm just lightly going over it. I have noticed the white one is like super juicy, so I have to be careful and can only do dots with it because the dots will just kind of fill the area. But you're just going to go in here and it's just like coloring. Now, as the paint dries, it's going to pull in a little bit and you might have to go back and just dot some places that it pulled away from. Like I can already see it's pulling just a little bit away from that edge, so I'm just going to hit it again. That tip I need to hit, and then I'm just going to keep coming in here and doing the vines. Now, I tried to do most of this already so that we could kind of finish it for the most part. I probably will still want to do some details after this live, but I wanted to give you like kind of the full vision of what it would look like painted. So I'm going to just do these greens here real quick because I'm only doing this one side, and then I'll show you how the different techniques you could do for like a watercolor look or just a solid look. Because I had to play around for a bit to get the watercolor down. You could also do all of these leaves and in like a gold. And I have an example of the gold on the wax. I've been trying all kinds of different techniques, you guys, so I can give you all the ideas. This part is probably my favorite because it's just relaxing. It kind of reminds me of coloring when I was little. I liked to color when I was little. Carolyn says she got the markers. Girl, you're going to be so happy. I absolutely love them. I should have reached out to my friend Diana first. She hand makes earrings, wooden earrings, and she hand paints them with these markers. And I should have reached out to her before I went trying to order all the markers. And what had happened was I saw the ones that she was using, but I couldn't find them. And you know I'm impatient. So I was just like, oh, it probably doesn't matter. It probably doesn't matter. I'll just get the ones I can find and it'll be fine. No, don't get the ones you can find. Get the Magi ones. Looks like I missed one over here, so I'm going to grab that one. Okay, so I've gotten all the green done on this one. Oh, I missed one little spot here. Now I did try, and I don't have a steady enough hand to do the vines. The tip I think is fine enough that you could, but my hand is not steady enough to do it. So I gave that up, and I think I can show you on one where I tried. Oh, here's my lid. All right, make sure you put your cap back on. So now we've got the green done all the way around on that. And I'll try and like zoom it in so you can see. Okay, then I just come in with the next color. And for me, I was doing the little cotton balls next. So again, I've used this marker before, but I'm going to just make sure, just test it out over here. Make sure it's not going to spit out a big blob on you because that'll be super frustrating. And this one, the white is behaving a little bit better now. When I first started using it, it was coming out good. Now you don't want to get down into the engraved lines. You're just painting the part that's risen up, okay? And we did the lines kind of deep for you to help you with that. And this is also the reason that Hannah version 2 won out, because when I was painting Hannah version 1 with all the lines, It was really hard. The lines were thin. It was hard to get the paint where you wanted it. And I didn't want it to be a frustrating experience for you guys. So we did release that one to the members because it does look really pretty, antiqued. But if you wanted to go in and do the painting, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. And it's not our goal to make you frustrated here. So I was already leaning to going with Hannah version 2, and then the members just confirmed that they'd rather have the option. With this one, you have the option of either. You can antique it still, or you can paint it if you want, or you can antique it and paint it. But it's going to give you the most option, but we just lose a little bit of the detail. Okay, so I've got all the white there. So I'm going to show you again. Now we have the white in there. So nice, pretty colors. Okay. Now so those are solid. I didn't do any shading. I just did solid colors. Now you can do this watercolor technique, which I'm telling you, you're probably going to want to practice on a side scrap of wood or on the back or something until you get the hang of it, because it does take a little bit to get the hang of this watercolor. But when you get it, it's stunning. So I'm going to try it first with, let me get I think we'll do the purple and the blue. So it's basically what I did for these, and it might be hard to see on here. I also did it on the flowers, but again, my watercolor this is one that I did better at. So do you see on the yellow part how the inside of that top flower petal is darker and then fades out to a lighter color? That's kind of what we're trying to do. Some of you may get this faster than me because it's taken me a little bit. Maybe we should start on the flower, because these smaller flowers, I found it a little bit easier and before I attempted the big flower. So with the small flowers, I used the yellow and the orange. So I'm going to use the orange at the base, and I'm going to use the yellow. And I know in this camera it looks green, but it's actually yellow. I use the yellow towards the top. So what I found is you're going to have them both in your hand. Like you're going to be switching back and forth because you kind of have to work while the paint is wet. So let's go try and do one of these. All right, we're starting with the darker color first, and we're going to come in and we're just going to make like a little like circle blob. Okay. Then we're going to quickly switch over here to the yellow. The yellow, we're going to start from the top and work down. And then we're going to pull the orange up. So basically both colors now are on this marker. I'm going to swipe it off, and you're going to get this, this effect. Where did I do it? Right there. See how it goes? It's kind of a watercolor effect where the one color blends into the other color. Christina says, beautiful job. Judy can't find the Magi markers. Judy, there's a link in this description. And then I'll post the link in the comments when I'm done as well, because they are hard to find. You can't just Google Magi, and I don't understand why, but it doesn't let you. Also, what I tried to do on mine was like take the colors like opposite. So like if I have an orange one here, it's on the it's on the top here, it's on the bottom here. So I tried to make them a little bit opposite when I did these ones. But what I did down here was I did all blue. So I'm not even doing the right colors, but whatever. Maybe it's flowers. It doesn't need to be exactly. But so these ones I did blue into or purple into blue. And then this one I just did yellow, orange into yellow. So to kind of tie these in, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do the same thing here. And then I'm going to make these two blue. And again, nobody's going to know this except you if you're like, oh, I didn't do it right. You can also let it dry and then go over it because it's paint. It's just going to go right over it. All right, so switching, coming in with the yellow. And then I'm going to start pulling that orange up into the yellow with the yellow pen. Then clean it off so I don't have orange at the end of it. And then there's my second one there. Where are we at? Right there. There's my little guy. All right, so we're going to do the same thing with the blue and the purple. So I'm grabbing my blue and my bright purple. And I'm going to do the same thing. Darker color on the bottom. Make sure it's not going to spit out on us. Now I have to be careful because I have this one down here still wet. So I'm going to fill the bottom. Just little dots. Come in. I'm going to stick my arm in that. I just know it. And bring the blue down. And then mix the two together. Sometimes you need to bring the bottom color up. Sometimes you need to bring the top color down. Just wipe off my marker so that I don't have that on there. My gosh, so sorry. When I'm upside down, it's like hard to tell. Okay, it's this one right here that I just did. Okay, we're gonna do one more like that and then we'll do the bigger flowers. All right, purple first. Darker color on the bottom. Lighter color on the top. Work from the top down so that you get just the one color at the top. And then I'm going to pull that purple into the blue. Okay, clean off my marker. So there we go. Now we have both of those. So you're going to do the same thing with the tulips. I think these are tulips. I don't know. I did the purple, and for these ones, I took the purple up higher. So I'm only going to do one leaf at a time, and I'm actually going to come in with a little bit lighter blue and pull it down and blend them together. I'll do the other one first or second, and then I'll show you. Again, taking the purple. And these may not have been the exact colors I used down here because I've put this together over a few days, but clean off that marker because I don't want that purple to dry on there. All right, so now I've got, and you can see where it's still wet. This tulip here is what I did. And then if you're like, oh, I didn't get enough blue or the blue's not showing enough, I can come back in here and work it just a little bit more and then leave it alone. And then it looks like I did this blue color on the inside, maybe. That actually looks like a little light. It might have been this other darker blue. It helps if you're going through. When I did the very first frame, I actually went around and I did like all of the white and then all of the green. And then I worked on the same flower each time so that I didn't confuse myself as to what color that I'm using for each section. So we're going to do the same thing on this one. I'm going to come in with the purple. I'm going to take it a little bit higher because I only want the tips that lighter color. Take my lighter color blue, drag it down, and then pull the purple up into it. Okay, clean off my marker. Do the same thing. Bring the purple up. Take the lighter color down. And then pull that darker color up into it. And you're going to get like a little swirly. Clean off the marker. And then we're going to come in and do the middle. And it does look like this blue is darker. The blue that I used for the other one. Yeah, it's probably this one. All right, so here's what we have. I've got one little flower at the end I need to fix there. And then you can see this is a darker blue than this one. So once it dries, I can just go in and fix it. But for right now, I'm going to do this. I got two little flowers that are hanging out here by themselves. So I'm going to do the purple and this darker blue. So we'll do our dark, then come up and do our blue and then pull that purple up into the blue. And we'll do it one more time here. Dark on the bottom. And you want it wet, so that's why we're moving back and forth pretty quickly. Bring your lighter color down till it almost meets it, and then pull that darker color up into the lighter color. Again, it's good to practice on these. So that bottom row now is pretty much done. Now this is still wet, but I'm going to come in with this blue that I think it was supposed to be, and I'm going to just go over this so that it matches my, so it matches the one that was there. I can't do that one yet because it's still wet. But that's basically what you're going to do all the way around. Think of the custom color combinations. There's so many things that you could do. Judy, you are spelling it right. Can you use any kind of antique wax in brown? It's beautiful. How much are these? So you can use any type of wax in brown. I don't think you, let me just put that on there. I don't think you have to use any particular type of wax. I've only used Dixie Belle, so I can only say how that one works. And then the frame sets are $24.99. So as that's drying, let me go through and I can actually show you what is going to show up so that you know you know all the things. Okay, when you show up their package, or when they show up their package like this. So we've got all three pieces in there. You've got your frame that you have, and then you have the back of the frame and the topper. Which I don't think I have another one here because I glued them all together, but you'll have the piece in between and then the tile. So you get a full set here. So you can do the front and the back because you'll get the tiles in there and everything. And then we also have the extra tiles. So the extra tiles you can buy in a 2-pack, you can buy in a 4-pack, or you can just buy a single extra tile. The 4-pack's the best deal, but if you don't use that many or you don't need that many, then you don't have to get that many. So these are, the extras are sold separately, but you do have one in the actual frame when you order it. So it either come like this or it'll come like this. And then the tutorial on here, this QR code is going to link back to the tutorial that we're doing right now for today. So all of the techniques that I just showed you you're going to have those to be able to go back and look back how to do it. So they're $24.99. If you're a member, then use your membership discount code when you check out. I'm not going to tell you what that is here because it's just for members. I'm going to do one more of these watercolor flowers just because this one isn't done. And then I'm going to go and we're going to do the edging on this one too. Because I haven't decided. I'm thinking I want to do, we can paint the edge, this line, or we can actually wax it. There's two different ways to do it. The technique that we're going to use, if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I can't stay, it's going to be the same thing. We're going to use that painter's tape to mask off the area that we don't want the paint or the wax to go. I do also want to show you once I get done with this one here. Let me just get this one going. I want to show you what to do if your marker hiccups and spits like a little bubble of paint outside of where you want it to go, which again, we're not dragging this so much. We're using little movements. Again, practice with your markers before you stick them on your frame so that you can get a feel for how they paint and how it catches and how it drags a little bit. So that is the outside one. Actually, this frame is supposed to be blue, so I just messed that up. All right, we're going to let that dry, and then I'm going to go over it with the blue. So I had like a rotation going on here where, oh, you don't even have it where you can see it, where this one is the yellow and orange, and this one is the blue and purple. And then I just accidentally painted that one orange. So all we do is we go over it once it's dry. Avriel, if you go to my main page, like the main Christian Craft Paper Facebook page, there is a post at the top that's pinned that says Melanie's favorite things. Christine says she's excited. She needs to order more. Such a beautiful gift to give. They are going to be so pretty. Another thing, graduation. You could do graduation colors in this. Again, Mother's Day. It could be, you could have, I started one. I was going to do one 4th of July. So that's why I started with the red, white, and blue is I was going to do a 4th of July version, but then I was like, you know, after 4th of July, I have to switch out to a different one. So I was like, oh, that wasn't very smart. I shouldn't have done that. So I wasn't thinking on that. My iron's getting mad. So let's go back here. We'll fix this one. Pretty sure this is the dark blue. So since the brown is dry, like you can just go back over it. See? You can just fix it. So if you messed up like I just did and you accidentally painted something a color that you didn't want it to be, just wait till it's dry and just go over it with the color that you want. And if it's a lighter color, you might have to do a couple coats. I'm gonna get this and then I'm gonna show you. There was a spot, oh, it's actually right next to it here, where the paint, the tip of the marker caught a little bit and it's kind of splattered. And it's the teeniest, tiniest splatter. But if it bugs you, I'm going to show you how to fix it because, like, for me, it bugs me. All right. There we go. I just went over it with the blue. And if you didn't see this video, you wouldn't even know that I did that. Well, hi, Ms. Nona. Okay, so I'm going to show you right here. It's going to be, it might be hard to see. I don't want to mess it up, but right on the outside of this flower here, where is it at? This one here. There's like the tiniest little splatter. It's right underneath there. I splattered the paint. Like it was just the tiniest little splatter. You're going to wait till it's completely dry. Okay. Don't try to do this when it's wet. You're just going to make it bigger. Okay. So you're going to take your knife. This is what you're going to use the X-Acto knife for. Where did it go? Oh, right over here. Okay. So you're going to take your knife and you're going to come and you're just going to start scraping it gently. Scrape that paint. So I'm just scraping it in towards the flower. That's going to get any of the chunks off, okay? So that took the chunk of paints off. Like, again, this is a super tiny splatter, but if you're trying to figure out how to fix that, then that's how you're going to do it. Then you're going to take either your sanding paper or your sanding file or whatever you have. Like, it might actually be easier to use like a file to get in there, but you just need like the tip of it. And you're going to come in and you're just going to file that part. So I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to file over that part just in the tiniest way. And this is why you want to get the chunk off first so that it doesn't, you're not filing the rest of the paint into the wood. So that's all you're going to do. And that just clean that up. So if you had a little paint bubble or anything like that happened, it's not at the end of the world. You can just go in and do that to get it off. So I did want to show that. I'll do that flower later. Let's go ahead and do the inside if you want to do the frame. So again, your paint needs to be completely dry. This one is still a little bit wet, so I definitely don't want to do that side. But if you wanted to do a frame around the outside of it, we're going to take our tape, our painter's tape. Again, make sure everything's dry. That looked glossy. I wanted to make sure. And then you're going to line it up with whichever line you want, because there's double lines on the inside and outside. So you can line it up with the first line. You can line it up with the second line. I got to move it over here. I'm lining it up with the first line. So I'm going to put that in there. And I'm lining it right up with the first line. And if you have to just keep putting it on there till you get it perfect, you're fine. Make sure it's good and tight. Okay, so from here, now we have like just a little bit of that showing. So you could do your paint markers. You could do your wax. Hey, Miss Cindy. There's all kinds of different options for this. I think for me, I am going to do the wax. I liked that look. I gotta find my wax. It's buried. So I'm going to come back in here with my wax. And I feel like it's just going to give it a more finished edge. So again, I'm going to put my plate underneath, and I'm just going to come in and hit it with the wax. And you can layer it, so you can make it as light or as dark as you would like. If you're super confident, you could freehand it. I'm not that confident. I'm wiping off the excess, and then you're going to come and you can just pull the tape line off, and then there you go. I don't know, it might be easier to see it this way. So now you have like this nice finished edge here. So for this one, I'm actually going to do that all the way around the outside, and I'm going to do the inside too, but I'm not going to do it on, I don't want you to have to sit here and watch me do all that, but I will do all of that before I take the picture. And then we're just going to repeat the same process that we did for the first napkin. Where did I put my tile? I don't think that's the one I put Mod Podge on. It's over here. This is my tile with the Mod Podge. So I'm just going to go and decoupage this one just so we can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like inside the frame. And then I will hop off here and let you all shop or check them out. And I will finish this one so that you can see the finish, and I'll take a pic and then I'll post it on there so everyone can see what the finished painted one looks like. So again, we've already Mod Podged. I want to make sure that if this is the top of my design, sits in there like this, I'm going to put it down like that so that my designs aren't upside down. Miss Christine says that she has a granddaughter graduating. Like, how fun would that be, right? And then you could put a verse in there that's going to inspire her as she moves on to the next season. Okay, so this one didn't want to separate, so I just gave it the tiniest tear at the corner, and that's just so I can get some of the plies separated. We're not going to use this corner, so it's fine to do that. All right, because we only need this top layer. Now it is tearing, like my actual napkin is tearing in towards the design here. So I'm not going to keep going that way. I'm going to go the other way, and then I'll come back to that one because I don't want it to tear into the design. And how easy this is with our napkins depends on if it's a full paint design or full color design. All right, it was just stuck right there. So I'm going to unstick it and then keep going. If the napkin is really saturated with the ink, like it's, for example, that, the back of this one, like this one was a little bit harder to separate because all of this is ink. It doesn't have any, like hardly any white space. So we're going to go and just keep tearing this way. That's not giving us any issue. I don't know if you can hear my cat. She has evidently followed my husband into the laundry room, and now she's stuck in there. She don't want to be in there, but she gonna have to wait. Alrighty. So there we go. We've got all that off. We're going to do the same thing as we did last time. We're going to get it lined up with where we want it. Now this one, in this napkin in particular, has the slightest print behind it. And so I just want to make sure that all of that is square and I don't end up with any white edges here. So I've got it lined up here. I'm going to take my parchment paper, do the switcheroo so that it doesn't move on me, and then I'm just going to hit it with the iron. And again, we already had the Mod Podge on there. If you are joining after we did it, we prepped it with the white. I actually used plaster, chalk paint. Then we put the a layer of Mod Podge and let it dry. It's just been hanging out over there. Don't touch it right away. It's going to be hot. Oh, okay. So here we have a little situation here in the corner where it folded up under my parchment paper while I was yapping. So I'm just gonna, this is my precision transfer tool. I'm just backing this back off. There we go. And I'm gonna come back with the parchment paper and I'm just gonna iron that corner back out. So again, maybe when you're doing it, pay attention. Pay attention to what you're doing. There you go. So I'll lift this up. You can't even see that corner that was folded over the top. And I just worked quickly, used my tool to just back it back out of there, and we're fine. Not like an extra little thing right there. I don't know what that is. Okay, so now we can take our sanding block. We're going to sand this off. We're going to sand the edges, and then we're just going to see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to keep finished painting that one off camera, but I want to give you an idea of kind of what it's going to look like. So the first sanding we're going to do is just to get the napkin off. Again, only rubbing to the back, not going back and forth. We're just getting the edges off of the napkin. And then for these ends, like you see, like I have a little bit of like Mod Podge or paint built up here. So now I'm going to take it and just go this way. Because if I don't get any of that extra stuff off, it's not going to slide in and out of the frame. Again, I would seal this. I will be sealing them when I get off camera. I'm going to use an acrylic spray in a mat. And that's to protect it while we're popping in and out. So we already did our frame. We already glued our two pieces, our topper and our middle piece. And from here, again, I'm just trying to get an idea of what it's going to look like. I still need to finish this edge. I'm also going to finish the inside edge, but this will give you kind of an idea of what it's going to look like when you're done. So if we were actually going to glue this now, you're going to follow the same process. You're not going to have your tile in there when you do it, okay? Same process. You're going to put the glue on either the four corners here or the four corners here, whichever you feel most comfortable with. You're going to use your E6000, 7000, 8000 permanent glue, whichever one you have. You're going to put that on there, and then you're going to line it up. And you're going to line it up so that you don't see any of, you shouldn't see any edging of this part, okay? It's cut perfectly the same exact size. So it should just disappear. Then once you do that and that's stuck, this one isn't because we're just mocking it up. But once you have, because you're going to be able to slide it around a little bit. So once you have that in there and stuck, then you're going to want to test your frame to make sure that it pops in and out, okay? It should pop in and out. If it's getting caught on your topper, then slide your topper around, your frame around until it's in the exact spot it needs to be, and then we'll just sit and let that cure, okay? So I'm going to finish this one. Again, I want to do the edges and finish. I have one more flower on here I want to paint, but I want to show you some other techniques that I did with this one as well. So this one is just antiqued. And then there is one that I did antique, and then I did a gold for the leaves. So you can kind of see that little shimmer there if you like that look. And then this one was one, I think it was Christine that liked this one. This is actually a whitewash and then a stain. So with the whitewash, I took the white chalk paint and I watered it down. And at first I used a sponge brush. When I used a sponge brush, this is what happened. The etching almost disappeared completely. So then I stopped using the sponge brush, and I actually just used my microfiber. I just stuck this in the paint. As you probably find the exact spot on here. I stuck it in the watered down paint, and then I used the microfiber to apply the white. And that's when it was coming through light enough to still see the etching in the frame. Okay. So if you like this look, you're going to want to use a watered down chalk paint and a rag to apply it. And then I did the same method. I came and I taped all these edges, and I came back with the the antique wax in the Dixie Belle Best Dang Brown. So we'll put this in here and you can kind of see the different, y'all, I got markers and everything everywhere. You can see like the different looks on here. So this one has like the little bit of gold in there. This one is the whitewash. It's a very, very natural, very muted, very pretty. I love it. Again, if you want to see it in just, again, like when we're doing it, we're just popping it with our finger and it just goes in there. See, I already got wax. This is why you seal right here. So in me touching everything, because I didn't seal this one yet. See that? I already got wax on it. So don't do that. Don't be me. But that's why you want to seal it. So I obviously had wax on something and it got on there. So I would definitely seal them as soon as you're done. So again, I make these mistakes so you don't have to. But the back is sealed already. So anyway, so this is what you would look like if you just pop in and swap it. So you can swap it into swap it to the design you have on the back. Or those of you that got multiple tiles, you could just change it out each month for your decor. This would also be great for those that are living like in assisted living or independent living where they don't have a lot of space to decorate, but they, you know, want like one piece that they can just keep switching out and it's not going to take up a lot of space. Again, dorm rooms are great too. Notice as the whitewash looks very elegant. I was surprised. I really like how it turned out. I wish I hadn't started with the big old blob there. But again, this is actually the frame that we're not carrying anymore. It is a lighter edge. The Hannah version 2 has a deeper edge, so I think it would actually show up better with the Hannah version 2. Thank you, Judy, for popping by. Yeah, so that's how easy they are. Again, we have the Hannah available, is live for everybody now. So everyone can get them. The members already had their chance to get them. So this is the Hannah. And again, you'll get the back and you'll get the topper frame and you'll get the frame and you'll get one tile with your set. And then we also have the Mary of Bethany, which is this version here. So I will show you, that was the first one that we did. So you can pop it. Woo. I don't know if I should be touching this one with my hands that have wax on it. Switch it out. And then they do fit on our medium frame. So if you go to the Pop and Swap collection on our website, the medium stand is in there, and that's the one that they fit on here. So that's that one. And then I know when I was doing it last time, the ladies are like, I need to see them side by side. So let me put this one back in here. And we'll put that one. And like I mentioned, we do have the extra tiles available as well. You can get them in a single tiles. You can get them in the 2-packs. And then we also have the 4-pack, which is the best deal out of all of them. So those are available in the shop as well. So there should be a link on the video. The link to the markers is in there as well. I will go back through the comments and try and share that marker link individually because I know that's the hot topic because you want the right markers to work. Also, you're going to want the markers because we have ornament season coming up. You know we're going to be using markers for the ornaments and all of the Christmas things, all of the holiday things. So I would just grab them, splurge on them for yourself because out of over $100 I've spent on markers in the last, I think, week and a half now. These are by far the best, and I'm not using any other markers, so highly, highly recommend. But they're live now on the site. Go and get them, and I'm going to wrap up this, finishing this other frame so I can take a picture of the final, and I will make sure to come back and share on the page so that you can see it. So thank you so much for tuning in and all your participation. I'm super excited to see what you all make with these. And until next time, happy crafting.